Hello my dear children, I hope you all are fine. Welcome back to your English class. Students, today we are going to cover one of your grammar topic and the name of the topic is verbs, modals and auxiliaries. So this must be a very new topic for you, so you have to pay attention very carefully at this video. So let us move what are modals and auxiliaries. Auxiliaries are the helping verbs. Auxiliaries are the helping verbs. Helping verb, as you know, are the verbs which help the main verb. They are the helping verbs of the main verb in completion of a sentence. Before this, we have done this helping verb a lot in your previous class also. And these helping verbs, along with the helping of the main verb, they play a very important role in formation of a sentence. Let us see how with the help of one example. She was calling her friend. She was calling her friend. Let us see what is the main verb in it. As you know, calling is the main verb in it because it is denoting some action going on in the sentence, and here was is a helping verb. Was here is a helping verb as it is helping the main verb. Suppose if we are not putting any helping verb here, then how did you read this sentence? She calling her friend. Does this sentence make a sense? Certainly not. It does not make any sense. So we have to put our helping verb again in the sentence. Now we read the sentence. She was calling her friend. Now this sentence seems complete, no? So this helping verb is necessary to make a sentence complete in its meaning and in its sense. And as I told you, it is helping this main verb to complete the sentence or to complete the meaning. Now, these auxiliary verbs are of two types, that are primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. These primary auxiliaries, they have grammatical functions. These primary auxiliaries are having grammatical functions and they are used in, while we will learn tenses, when we will frame sentences out of tenses, we are going to use these primary auxiliaries. And these modal auxiliaries, the second type of the auxiliaries are modal auxiliaries. They express our attitude. Modal auxiliaries, they express our attitude. For example, to seek permission, to show ability, to show possibility, these kind of attitudes that are shown by these modal auxiliaries. Let us have a look on all the auxiliaries, then we will differentiate what is primary auxiliary and what is modal auxiliaries. So here I have written a list of the auxiliaries. So be, have and do. These three auxiliaries are the primary auxiliaries. These three auxiliaries are the primary auxiliaries, and the rest can, could, may, might, shall, should, must, will, would, need, dare, ought, they show attitude of ours. They shows the, like we have to take permission, we have to make a possibility. They show our attitude. They expresses our attitude. These words expresses our attitude. So they are known as modal auxiliaries. The list of these words are modals, or we can say them modals. And these be, have and do, they are our primary auxiliaries. Understood? Now let us see how we are going to use primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. Now students, we are going to learn how we can use the primary auxiliaries. As I have told you, these primary auxiliaries are having grammatical uses and they are used in tenses. So let us see in what forms they are used in tenses. First is be. Be is a primary auxiliary and it is used as is, am, are in present continuous tense. It is used as is MR in present continuous tense and it is always followed by first form of verb plus ing. And it is followed by first form of verb and ing. For example, she is calling her friend, or I am calling my friend, or they are calling their friend. And same be is used in past tense as was or were. Be is used in past tense as was and were, and it is also followed by first form of verb and ing. For example, I was calling my friend, she was calling her friend, they were calling their friend. So be is used in present tense as is-mr and past tense as was-were. And here it is followed by first form of verb plus ing. Here also it is followed by first form of verb plus ing. Now our second auxiliary is do. It is used as do, does in present tense and did as past tense. So do does is used in present indefinite tense and it is always followed by first form of verb. And here did, do is used as did in past tense and it is always followed by first form of verb and it is used in past indefinite. Whereas do does is used in present indefinite, here did is used as past indefinite, and these both do, does and did carries first form of verb. And this third one, our primary auxiliary have, it is used as has, have in present tense as present perfect tense. These are the helping verb. So present has, have is the helping verb of present perfect tense and it is always followed by third form of verb. And here have is used as had in past tense. So it is the helping verb of past perfect tense and it is always followed by the third form of the verb. Understood? This have is used as has, have in present tense as a helping verb of present perfect tense. Here it is used as had in past tense as the helping verb of past perfect tense and these both are followed by third form of verb. Now students, we come to our modal auxiliaries. As you know, modal auxiliaries, they show our attitude. Let us study them one by one now. Can. First, our modal auxiliary is can. Can is used in any sentence to show ability and to show permission. To show ability, how? Like I can run very fast. This is my ability that I can run very fast. And to show permission. Can I take your pen? Can basically shows very informal permission. It shows informal permission. That means that the permission that we take from our friends, our parents, our relatives. It does not show any formal permission. So, can I take your pen? Mama, can I go out? These kind of sentences uses can. So, can shows ability and they show permission. Now, our next one is could. Could is the past tense of can. Could is the past tense of can and it shows ability in past. That I could do. I could run very fast when I was young. जब मैं छोटा था तो मैं बहुत तेज दौड़ सकता था. I could run very fast when I was young. So it shows the ability in past and it shows very weak possibility. It shows very weak possibility. Like it can rain today. So though there are many clouds in the sky, but we say it can rain today. That means to show very little possibility of the thing to be happen. So very weak possibility, very little possibility is shown in could. And could is used in the sentence to make request. Could you go out? it is used to make request. Now may. Our next model is may. May is used for formal permissions. Formal permissions means the permissions that we are take from the authorities. Authority means like if you want to go out of the class, you will ask your teacher, ma'am, may I go out? Instead of can I go out. You are not going to use can. You will use may for asking a permission from your authority or your teacher. Whatsoever your authority is, you will use may for taking permission. And for a wish, to show a wish, like may you live long, may you get all the success. When we give any wish to anybody, we use may. And to show a strong possibility, may show a very strong possibility. For example, like the clouds are there in the sky and it seems that it will be raining, so we use it may rain today. That means there are 80% chances of the raining. So may is having the very strong possibility. Next is might. Next is might. Might is used for a very weak possibilities. Very weak. Weaker than can. First, may is having the stronger possibility, then can is having a little possibility, and might is having the weaker possibility. Then like it might rain today, we might go Delhi next week. So it shows very weak possibilities that are not likely to be happen. Like it is not likely to be happen, but it can happen. Okay. Then should. Should is used for asking suggestion. Should I buy this dress? So if I ask a suggestion from you, then I will use should. Should I teach you? This is a asking suggestion from you, and it is used to give advice. Should is used to give advice. It is very basic thing that you should study. If I am giving you advice, then I am going to use you should study hard if you want to pass. If you want to pass, the word which I have used is should. Understood? Now we come to shall. As you know, we always use shall with I and we. We generally use shall with I and we, but when we use shall with second and third person pronoun, that means he, she, it, they. When we are using shall with he, she, it, they, that means it shows a strong promise or a threat. It shows a promise or a threat. For example, you shall get a new laptop on your birthday. If I am telling you, you shall get, if I am using shall with you, that means I am making a promise to you. That means I am making a promise to you. You shall get a chocolate if you get good marks. That means if I have used shall with you, then I am going to make a promise to you. And to show the threat, you shall be removed from the meeting if you don't wear the uniform. So if I am using shall with you to give a threat, that shows I am giving you a threat. Understood? Same is will. Generally we use will with second and third person pronoun. You, he, she, it. Except I and we are using will with everything. But when will is used with I and we, it shows a promise, a habit, a intention or a threat. For example, I will study hard. Though I could have used I shall study hard, तब ये हमें क्या नहीं शो करता, that I am making a promise. If I have used I will I have used with I, that means I am making a promise that I will study hard, and it shows a habit. I will watch TV for hours. If I have said I will watch TV for hours, that means it is my habit that I generally watch TV for hours. And it shows a threat, like I will be thrown out of this meeting if I don't wear this uniform. So I am talking to myself that I have to wear uniform because otherwise I will be thrown. That means it is a threat to me. That is why I am using will with I. Next is would. would is used to make very polite request or very polite offer. Generally, to whom we make very polite request? To the strangers, to the people we don't know. Generally, if we don't know, then we have to be extra polite to the person no we don't know. So to the person, if we are not knowing, if we are talking to any stranger, then to ask to make a request, we will use would. For example, we are sitting in any examination and we don't know the person who is sitting next to us. Okay, so if I want to have a pen from my neighbor person, then I would use I will use, would you lend me your pen please? Because the person who is sitting to me is a complete stranger to me. I don't know the person in personal. Okay, so would is used to make very polite request or very polite offer. For example, somebody is sitting next to me and I don't know I don't know the person who is sitting next to me, and if I have to offer my lunch to him or her, then I will use would. Would you have a bite of my lunch please? So would is used to make very polite request and very polite offer, and it is generally to the stranger, to the people we don't know. Next, our model is must. Must is used to express the necessity or the possibilities. For example, for necessity, we must reach on time. We must reach on time. Here must is showing the necessity, and for showing the possibility it is also used. Must is also used to show the possibility. For example, he must on his way. Ma'am, he is coming, he must be on his way. Next is ought to. Ought to shows moral duty or obligation. It shows moral duty or obligation. For example, we ought to win. We ought to put our best efforts. Next is used to. Used to show the habit that was there in the past and now it is discontinued. Like, I used to play for 4 hours earlier. I used to go for swimming in summers. Now that was a past activity. Now it is discontinued. I am not continuing these activities. So used to is used for a habit which is discontinued now, which was there in the past. Now next is need. Need is also necessity. It shows the necessity. For example, he needs to visit the doctor as soon as possible. And dare. Dare means to be bold enough. Be bold enough. Dare को हम हिंदी में कहते हैं हिम्मत. How dare you? तुम्हारी कैसे हिम्मत हुई? तुम्हारी हिम्मत कैसे हुई? So dare is always used in interrogative or negative sentences. We generally use dare in interrogative or negative sentences. For example, how dare you? How dare you to speak like that to me? Or in negative sentences like, I don't dare to fight with him. I don't dare to fight with him. मतलब मेरी हिम्मत नहीं है उसके साथ लड़ने की. So students, these were all your model auxiliaries that we have covered. So let us recall what we have learned today. We have learnt the auxiliaries. Auxiliaries are the helping verbs. They are helping the main verb, or they are helping the main verb to complete the sentence. There are 2 types of auxiliaries, that are primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries are used in tenses, and whereas these modal auxiliaries are used, they are there to show our attitude. So we have learnt may, might, can, could, should, will, shall, must, and ought to, used to, need, and dare. I hope you have understood.